Devilman's design is so iconic and it's had several different versions, so today I've decided to sit down and rank each of his appearances. Starting off with the original design from the 1972 manga, the great granddaddy Devilman, if you will. I don't feel like enough people talk about how good Go Nagai's character design chops are, because this is great. It strays far away from stereotypical devil characters and looks so intimidating. The bat part of the head is what makes this design so unique. It's like a cross between an alien and a demon. It's an S tier for me. I'm just gonna knock out the manga designs here first, and we have Devilman Lady. I mean, what can you say about it really? It's just Devilman with tits. She's also has a bit more of a human look to her, and I don't like that. I prefer Devilman in a more scarier looking light, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in D. That might seem harsh, but that's just the way I feel. Now we get to Neo Devilman, and this one is quite a bit of a doozy because each chapter in this manga is drawn by a different person. The first one is by a guy called Lazy Hagiwara. I have no clue what he's ever done, but I really like his art style. The opening page with the watercolors looks fantastic. We don't really get that much of a look at this version, but I'm gonna put it in an A tier. This one honestly shocked me, but we got one by the creator of Golden Boy, Tatsuya Egawa. His version of Devilman is only in the last couple of panels, and it looks pretty similar to Nagai's art style. I think it's kind of basic, so I'm putting it in a B. Next, we got none other than Tetsuya Arata, and this one got me really excited because I've always really enjoyed Arata's artwork, and this rendition is just great. I mean, he looks like a literal Final Fantasy boss here. Absolutely menacing aura, and he really leans into the demon aspect of Devilman. This is an S tier 100%. Ken Ishikawa also decided to take a swing at Devilman, and yeah, it looks pretty similar to Nagai's version. Ishikawa, to my knowledge, was an assistant to Nagai for years, so it makes sense why it looks so similar. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the B category for that, and I know that might seem harsh, but I want more originality out of these designs. Here's one that doesn't really ring any bells with Shinichi Hirimoto. He has a very crazy art style from what I've seen online, and he suits Devilman like a glove. I love his long and skinny limbs, and the expression on the face is just so devilish. I'll put that in an A tier. Hitoshi Iwaki. That's right, the creator of Parasite is on this list. This one makes the most sense because Parasite is very similar to Devilman. I didn't even know a lot of these guys touched Devilman, but this is awesome. I've never read Neo Devilman, but now I start to think I should. This one just looks gnarly and feral. He looks like he just wants to take a bite out of you. I think that's an A. Chapter 8 features a female artist by the name of Noriko Nagano. Looks like she does a lot of cutesy type manga. I'm always interested in seeing how these types of artists cover violent characters, and she ends up doing a pretty good job, but it doesn't do anything for me, and it's not really that different, so that's gonna be a B. Kazuko Umeno's version only has one panel of Devilman, but I feel pretty meh about it, so I'm just gonna put it in the C tier. Noboru Miyama's version has a more realistic look to it, and I think it stands out amongst the other artists. Devilman's face is something of note, with him looking more human, and I'm not really against it here. He almost looks calm and handsome. I'll put it into a B. Not bad, but not my favorite. Shoyu Tajima has a more stylish and sexy looking art style that surprisingly doesn't clash with Devilman's design at all. This one panel looks so energetic and freakish. I give it an A. Masaomi Kenzaki has an interesting art style. I'm not sure if I care for when he draws people, but man, he can draw Devilman. This version is a lot more cartoony, but there's something visceral about it. I gotta put it in S. We finally get one who's worked on several Gundam series by the name of Yoshikazu Yasuhiko. He's worked on a lot of the more recent Gundam anime, and he can draw Devilman surprisingly well. What I really like are the colors that he uses for Devilman here. I'll put it in an A. The last chapter of Neo Devilman is done by Yu Kuroda, and Devilman's only in one teeny weeny little panel. It's okay, I guess, but our C tier is looking a little lonely, so let's give him a friend. Now we move on to Amon, the dark side of Devilman. And if you've been watching my YouTube shorts, you probably already know how I feel about this one. I adore everything about this design. I love the insectoid look to it and the xenomorph inspiration on the tail. The aura that this design emits is so angry. He also did a manga called Strange Days with Go Nagais, and it's basically the same design, so S tier. Demon Knight is a really odd one, and I just don't really care for the Demon Knight motif, so I'm gonna put it in a C tier. There was a manga called Devilman by Isaku Masaru, and I can't really find much about it, but from this image alone, I'm gonna throw that in a D tier. Devilman Battler is another obscure one, and it's alright, so C it is. Devilman Toshin is another Devilman entry that exists, and it's also made by Yoshiro Iwamoto, who did a lot of the Mega Man art. It's really cool seeing Devilman in a Mega Man art style. He also gets a different version later on that looks cool too. I honestly just give it an A just for the novelty alone. Ryu Takato's Devilman Grimoire is really good, and this guy really gets Devilman. I love this guy's art style. It perfectly captures that rawness of what made the original Devilman design so good. I also love what he does with Devilman's eyes. He opts to make them yellow in several color drawings instead of just white. An S absolutely. Devilman vs. Hades has a great art style, and the design for Devilman is good. I mean, there's really only so many times that you can put a different spin on the character, but I'll give it an A for the details. Now we move on to anime versions, starting with the controversial Toei design. So, when I say different designs, I don't mean like this. I guess for the tone of the show that it was going for, it works, but in comparison to the other designs, it looks stupid as fuck. He's got trunks on, for fuck's sake. With like a D on his belt, he looks so derpy depending on the image too. That D on his belt must stand for D tier because this is garbage. The OVA Devilman designs are classic. They couldn't go wrong trying to emulate Nagai's style, and this is the first time that he's looked great in animation. The eyes and the expressions are always great. I'm also glad they went with the more human flesh tone on the skin because I've never been a fan of the blue tone. It just looks kind of goofy. I give these boys an A. Amon, Apocalypse of Devilman's design is a goddamn masterpiece. It takes some visual cues from the manga, but then it adds its own flair. With Yasushi Nirasawa on the helm, he makes one of the best Devilman incarnations. The empty yellow eyes and the pinkish skin tone go great together. I love his longer limbs as well. S++. The Devilman Lady anime design is considerably different from her manga counterpart, and I really like it. The yellow eyes add a lot to it, and that's what the original design was missing in my opinion. Just a touch more animalistic design to it. I give it an A. Devilman Crybaby's design is probably the most recent design in memory, and he just looks great. I love the furry parts of the legs as well, and the feeling that he invokes. The scene where he's in flames is burned into my memory. A tier. Here's one that a lot of people tend to forget with the anime Devilman vs. Cyborg 009. This is the buffest Devilman has ever looked. I mean, he looks jacked here, and I love it. There's also his small pupils that permanently make him look tense. The bits of red under the eyes is also another good choice. I honestly consider this to be an A. Of course, we can't forget about his most important appearance in Go Nagai's World, which is a chibi anime based on Nagai's work, which means we get to experience the greatness of Chibi Devilman. S tier all the way. I don't care if it contradicts anything I said about Devilman having to look menacing, I will not debate this one. Last and finally least is the Devilman's design from the 2004 live-action movie. Regardless of the quality of the film, it's honestly a pretty good design. It could have ended up being way worse. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in the B category. And that concludes our list for Devilman designs. I don't think this is every one of Devilman's appearances, but I was just trying to get as many as I could. This was something different for the channel, and I was kind of hesitant about doing it, but I'd like to try this with other characters down the line. If you have any ones that you would like to see me rank, post it down below.